Hey now, and welcome down to KC Toy Reviews. We are here today with Batlady by SooSoo Toys, aka Batwoman from the piece of crap garbage CW show that we wish never existed. But unfortunately it does, and well, we got some decent figures out of it. So, as always, let's go ahead and dive right in. Alright, so let's get one glaring thing immediately out of the way, and as I mentioned in the intro, man, the CW Batwoman show is awful. It's just got awful. And that's unfortunate, because I do think that Ruby Rose is a fantastic actress. She's a badass action actress. If you haven't seen her, she's in a ton of movies. I think she was even in one of the John Wick movies. So if you haven't seen her, check her out. Fantastic actress. I think she actually portrayed the part well. You know, I think she looks good in the suit. Even what we have in front of us, I think this looks really, really good. But as far as the writing, I think we all know how CW shows go, and that is down the tubes. Flash, what the hell is that other one? Legends of Tomorrow. I mean, just, God, just stop. There was a glimmer of hope with the new Superman and Lois show. There was a glimmer of hope. It was done a little bit differently. It looked differently. It just visually had a different look than the other CW crap garbage shows. So, anyways, let's end that rant. CW, you just got to figure something out with all those shows because we want to continue watching them. It's really painful to do so at this point. Now, the figure at hand by SooSoo Toys, initial reaction was good. Man, rooted hair is a mixed bag and it's a gamble in my opinion. Currently, I do think it's a little bit more puffy. In comparison to the promo pictures, in my opinion, looked a little more straight. This came in more puffy, which is, again, in my opinion, very stereotypical of rooted hair. It always comes in puffy. It's just a little bit puffy and a little bit curly to my liking right now, so that is just one of my first knocks. Secondly, the suit and the material is fantastic. It's a really cool texture. I really dig it. I like it. The only thing that really stuck out right away was that it wasn't form-fitting. It might be hard to see here, but there's actually some padding on her side here. I would have liked to have seen it, go down a little bit and fit a little bit around the waist a little bit more. Just in reference, maybe if you think about the Batgirl by Hot Toys. Again, a very form-fitting, the way the suit goes around it, and completely different. This suit is on top of a 1/6. I believe the Batgirl was kind of like a mixed bag of that. And the only reason I mention it like that is the Hot Toys Batgirl had sculpted legs, and then the upper part from the waist up, that was an actual suit over a 1/6 body. That being said, this doesn't look awful. There's just something about the proportions between the legs and the hips that's slightly off. And I'm talking 10%, 8 to 12% off. And I'm being very granular with it. Yes, I'm being anal. But again, yes, I do believe there's something slightly off with the proportions of the leg and the waist here. And I guess while we're on it, it seems like I'm just sitting here bashing this thing because I do like it. But I want to kind of go over some of the things that I was a little bit perplexed. No wired cape, and the cape itself is, dare I say, poofy. There's no real way to kind of get it in, unless, again, you iron it or do something crafty with it, but it kind of just is what it is. It sits the way it is. Nowadays, when we're coming out with all these Batman and Batgirls with wired capes, I personally think you just need to keep up with the times, read the blueprints of what's out there. Had this had a wired cape, it would have looked insane. We could have got some really crazy poses out of it, so pretty disappointed that we don't have a wired cape, given the previous quality of all SooSoo releases. Because previously, everything SooSoo comes out with is absolutely outstanding. So at this point, this late in the game, how are you going to release a Batgirl or any type of Batman and a cape figure without a wire in the cape? Doesn't make too much sense. Now, on to the good. Like I said, the suit is fantastic. Great material, good texture to it. I actually do think the head sculpt, put the hair aside. Let's say we really do like the way the hair look. I think the head sculpt is fantastic. The eyes have just this nice glistening glare to them. Beautiful paint application to the chin area, good proportions, it sits well, good articulation. Just overall, it's a thumbs up on the head sculpt. The hair is a mixed bag, and at that point, it might even be personal preference. Do you want sculpted hair or do you want rooted hair? Well, in this case, you don't really have a choice. And as always with SooSoo Toys, we do have a beautiful branded 1/6 scale stand. The fact that we are selling this thing for $150 to $170 with a stand, accessories, and a fantastic figure, I do have to give kudos to the team over there. We have several companies still out there, licensed company 30 that have 1/6 scale figures without stands. Still perplexed to this day that they are not giving us stands, and there's a plethora of other ones out there. I just got to say, if you're giving us a figure, give us a stand. Arguably, it is probably one of the biggest mistakes to not include a stand with a 1/6 scale figure. Onward to the accessories. You saw the staff that she had in hand, which is obviously one accessory, and then what we see here. So we have the 2 removable chin sculpts here. We have the bat gun, whatever the hell we want to call that, and we have the Ruby Rose head sculpt, and overall it's pretty good. As I mentioned before, even on the other head sculpt, we have a nice glisten to the eyes there, as you can kind of see that if I go back and forth there. Just a beautiful attention to detail to the skin tone, to the eyes there. Just overall great paint application. Does it look spot on to Ruby Rose? No, but no head sculpt truly does. I think if in recent memory, the Boba Fett, the Tamora Morrison or whatever his name is, that head sculpt was fantastic. There's just a few of them over the past year or so that just really stick out. But again, this one's not bad by any means. Just doesn't necessarily look spot on to that actress. But again, as a head sculpt and the team over there, fantastic to even pull something like this off. Truly is beautiful. And last but not least, we have the 3 batarangs. They are die cast, so you have tiny little metal batarangs that came with it. Just pretty cool that the team went to that next step of quality on those batarangs. All right, so let's start to wrap this up, slap a score on this figure, and add some final notes. First off, it might have sounded like I was just bashing this figure in the beginning, and that's because I just got it out of the box and I was analyzing some things, and yeah, I was a little bit disappointed at certain things here. Overall, I'm definitely happy with the figure. I think that there could be some minor improvements. Maybe my expectations from SooSoo because of like Gambit or the Green Goblin, they're just so far up there now that I just expect every figure to be like a 9 or higher. This wasn't in that category, and not that it's a bad figure. It just wasn't the same quality as Gambit or the Green Goblin, other than the tone on the face of Green Goblin. But with that said, we do have a great figure in front of us from a god-awful show. Articulation-wise, double jointed elbows and knees. There was some limit to the boots. They basically just kind of pivot up and down. I couldn't get I didn't feel like there was any type of ball joint in there to get any full swerve or left and right motion. So the feet felt a little bit limited, but like I said, there was fantastic articulation in the arms and the legs. The suit was very forgiving. I do think that you can get this into some pretty good poses without destroying it, like some of the Hot Toys figures out there or some other third-party companies out there that produce figures with suits on them that you just, dear God, you only want to kind of take some pictures and then get them back into a museum pose. I would say that you could kind of push this thing a little bit, and it would be forgiven. The material did feel like that. Now, with that said, I'm going to segue to, I think the material could have been a little bit more form-fit into the body. There was this odd padding underneath, and I'm not sure why they added padding or if it was just the body. Now, I know these are minor gripes, but I have to be honest with what's in front of me. But through the lens right now, I am definitely happy with it. So, with all of that said, still being disappointed that there's no wire in the cape, the score that I'm going to throw on the SooSoo Toys Batlady is a 7.2 out of 10. Now, a 7.2 in my world is not horrible. I would still, believe it or not, recommend it. For $150, $160, you still can't go wrong. And I think that you can do some improvements, some mods, maybe find somebody that can do a wired cape out there. Is it the best figure? No. Is it SooSoo's best figure? Absolutely not. They have done much better than this. But we have a great figure, as I said, from a garbage crap show. Ruby Rose is a great actress. Batwoman was a terrible show. And with all that said, we're going to go ahead and sign off here today. KC Toys, SooSoo Toys, Ruby Rose!